Welcome back. You're watching Central Valley Today, everyone. You know, relationships are tough. They're never like the fairy tales you read in the books or see on TV, but they don't have to be miserable either. If you've just gotten out of a bad relationship, we have an expert here who's ready to do some straight talk and get you back on the road to happiness. So welcome to the show, Dr. Ivan Young, the author of Break Up, Don't Break Down. Break up, but don't break down. What a wonderful title. Welcome to the show. Doctor, I know that you have flown in all the way from Houston to be here with us today, so we certainly appreciate that.
I wouldn't miss this for the world, Alex.
Okay, good, good. Let's talk about this new book that you've just written, The Concept. Where did you come up with this concept and why?
Well, I can tell you the why probably easier than I can tell you why I came up with it. Every interview I did, people would ask me, how do I find the right person? How does a breakup affect my children? How do I start my life over? All these things. So I did my homework. I couldn't find one book that either wasn't riddled in fantasy or saying, put a vision board in the refrigerator, he'll come, or something that was overly religious, or click your heels 3 times and you get it. So because of an absence of quality, I had to write it.
Now, you are a relationship expert. Can you give us a little bit of a background? More of a background on you?
The quick shell is I have a doctorate in holistic life coaching, undergraduate. I did pre-med in psychology and a master's in metaphysics. But at the end of the day, you have to understand what makes people tick. What is it that causes you to be an introvert and extrovert? You need to know something about cultural dogma and societal constructs, value and belief systems, because if you don't know those things, how can you adequately address the human condition?
Exactly. So you've become an expert then and really trying to make people happy, because one of the most miserable times I think in a person's life is when they have to break up with a person that they maybe once loved, whether it been just a breakup of a boyfriend or even a divorce from someone, right?
That's true. First, how can you be happy with someone else when you can't be happy with yourself?
So that's where it starts.
Yeah, definitely. I have a phrase where I say, if you can't be alone with you, why in the heck would someone else want to be?
Now, why do you think relationships fail in the first place? It's just because two people are different and they don't get along? Or do we just have to work at getting along with someone?
That's kind of a catch-22.
Okay.
On one level, it probably shouldn't begin. You don't need to be in a relationship with someone else until you are in a healthy relationship first with yourself.
Okay.
The second thing is that people come into your life for a reason, for a season, or for a lesson. We have to understand that not everyone is meant, quote-unquote, to be your baby or your boo. So we have to understand and accept that when the season is over, embrace, learn from it, and let it go. Because over time, think of it this way, Alex, in the last 7 years, are you the person you were 7 years ago?
No.
None of us are.
No.
So as a result, we change, sometimes in 3 years, sometimes over 7, and it pays to do an inventory of the person that you're with so that you can keep track, just as a store does inventory. You know, if you look at a grocery store per se, what they merchandise between November and December is far different than what they do in the summer. So people change.
What kind of tips do you give in your book? Or is it more of a fictional book? Talk to us about...
No, it's not fictional at all. It actually is a step-by-step guide on how to first position yourself for real love to find you and how to keep it if you are fortunate enough to connect with that very special someone. The other components are when your child is watching you go through dysfunction and divorce, how can you minimize the effects? Well, the answers to that is in that book. The other thing is when you want to start dating, you want to look and tell, is this the right or the wrong person for me? It's in that book. So there's, it takes the guesswork out of dating, marriage, and divorce. All
right. You have a very interesting take on certain couples, including a celebrity couple that we all know so well, Chris Brown and Rihanna. Now, if people out there have been under a rock, they don't know what happened, but he was accused of beating her, went to trial and everything. But now, I think they're back together. You, in the end, say that Chris Brown can't seem to get a break here. Now, in the meantime, I think a lot of people are upset that she's even back with him. What do you think of the whole thing? What's your take on it?
Well, first, I think they should get the facts straight. Actually, Rihanna assaulted Chris first, and he hit her back. But the way society works, and I'm not advocating that anyone should put their hands on anyone, male or female, but as any man, If a woman assaults you, do not touch her.
Okay.
Do not hit her back, because that will get you in jail. You know, when the police show up, this guy can be standing there with a black eye and they will ask the woman, how are you? So I suggest that men think before you react. The second thing is Chris did not look at his circumstances. You're an African-American male. We already know that we live in a country where there's a predisposition to convict any minority male. So you might want to understand that with that presence and with fame does come infamy. And then more than anything else, Chris forgot that what he does is under a microscope. So even if it's something that you and I could, let's say you and I just had a bad incident and we're just friends, that's not under America's microscope. But when you're a superstar and so is your girlfriend, that's a whole different paradigm.
Mm-hmm. And now a lot of people are really chastising her for getting back with him. Mm-hmm. Do you think that is true love? Or, I mean, what's going on here? Because for a lot of people, she's not being a very good role model for our children.
I think on both sides of the fence.
Okay.
Both of them are very young people that have been hurled into the spotlight. They have enough money where everyone around them is just going to say, yeah, do it, long as you keep signing a check, or as long as I can get a photo op with you and be part of your entourage. If it were me and I was advising Chris or Rihanna, I would suggest enjoy where you are. Let's perfect you becoming the individual that you truly are and not the brand that we see you as being. And beyond that, before you get into a relationship and make it go public, perfect it in private.
Yeah, and we don't even know if they are back together again, for sure, because every day it's different. So let's move on and talk about divorce, because that happens a lot nowadays. How can we prevent the negative effects of separating from affecting our children? And when we are in the second relationship, are we obviously to put them first?
Of
Their
course.
Happiness first.
I'm going to point some quick things.
Okay.
Number one, in-laws, stay out of negative conversations, especially when the babies are around, because kids need to feel loved and safe. And if grandmother or grandfather of the, let's say of the dad, is talking about mom or in reverse, how can that child feel complete? Because you're talking about half of who they are. The other thing is we need to be aware that there are different types of reactions. So when you have a toddler, they will start back having night terrors and wetting the bed. They will revert. When you have a teenage kid, they will more than likely reach out to whoever's not going to give them drama or stress, or what does misery love? Company. So at that point, your daughter now starts becoming very attached to her boyfriend, or in today's times, her girlfriends.
Yeah.
And the same thing with young men. And even your adult children, you're destroying the foundation of their belief system about themselves and relationships. So divorce affects the different genders and different age groups of children in disproportionate ways. And for the best thing is just remember, as parents, you do not want to destabilize that child's life. So when you get apart, come to an agreement about how you're going to discipline the child, what the boundaries are, and more than anything else, let that child, and you sit and tell your kid, I know that we're not together, and I understand this is a change, but we are together when it comes to you.
All right. Well, such wonderful advice that you have, and it's all here in the book, Break Up, Don't Break Down. Where can people find this wonderful book filled with great tips and information?
I would suggest, because you can keep track with other things, go to www.divanyoung.com. So that's divanyoung.com. Or you can call us at 877-508-2025. That's 877-508-2025. And you know, you can get help, because I am a practicing holistic life coach.
Well, I think it's wonderful. Thank you. And your advice really runs the gamut from divorce to celebrity breakups. It's really great, and it's filled with a lot of great information. Break up, don't break down. A roadmap for anyone who's trapped by past anger, guilt, and pressures of a failed relationships. Very well put. Doctor, thank you so much for being here. We sure appreciate it. It's been wonderful talking to you. And come back to Fres, yes, anytime.
I will, and we're going to see that national park next time I'm here.
Yes, Yosemite. I know. You got to make time to see that.
Thank you.
Doctor, thanks so much.